Okay, wel, heddi mae gen i chydig o anrhegion. Mewn gwirionedd mae gen i 3. I've got 3 gifts this morning. Oh, now then. Here's one, and here are the other 2. Can you see them? If you squint, maybe. Those are the other 2, right? Nice and easy. Do you want to guess what's in them? No? Too hard? Right. If you could choose one of these gifts, which one would you choose? Pa un fyddech chi'n dewis? Os byddech chi'n dewis unrhyw un o'r ein? The big one. Arthur wants the big one. Right. Well, do you want to help me open it then? No? No, too shy. Who wants to help me open the big one? You have to be very careful. Ellie? Etienne? Go on. Open this one for you. Oh! Aros a munud, Arthur. Careful, careful, really careful, really careful. It could be something really valuable, so you'll be very careful. Oh, this looks nice. It's a bin bag full of rubbish. Oh, wow. How valuable is that?
I knew that was going to happen.
He knew that was going to happen. It's a bin bag full of rubbish. Okay. Right. I think you chose the wrong one, Arthur. You can have it afterwards, right? You can take it home with you. It's yours to keep. I'm very kind like that. Now I've got 2 other gifts. Can you tell anything? Well, can you tell one apart from the other? No? Which one would you choose? This one? Okay, I'll keep that one. I'll open this one first. I say I'll try and open it. The smaller they are, the harder they are to open, I find. Thankfully, I brought a tool to open it. Now this one is, oh, wow. This one could be the gift of 2022. Oh, wow, yeah. Are you ready for this? It's a sprout. Oh, how valuable is that? It's a sprout. Do you want it? There we go. Merry Christmas. It was clean, at least. Oh. Right, okay. I'd suggest cooking them first, but right, this is the other one. It looks just like that one, the other gift. But what's inside? Oh, inside this one is a diamond ring. Now, I can't give this one away because I've already given it away to my wife when we got married, or before we got married. But a diamond ring. And I'm sure you could sell this and buy lots of sprouts if you want, Ellie. But today I want to talk about how sometimes we look at gifts from the outward appearance and we can form the wrong opinion. Completely wrong opinion about them. Weithiau, ni'n gallu edrych ar anreg o'r tu fas, a ni'n meddwl bod e'n werthfawr, a ni'n meddwl bod e'n impressive. Just like Arthur thought that big gift was going to be a really impressive, powerful gift, turns out it was worthless. And then we had 2 other gifts, which from the outward appearance looked exactly the same. They were small, they seemed insignificant. And yet one of them was relatively insignificant and stinky, the sprout. But one was very, very valuable and precious and beautiful. And that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit this morning. And so as we look at Jesus, he came to earth, and from the outward appearance, you would look at him, and he wouldn't be any different to anyone else. Bydde fe ddim gwahanol I chi a fi. Oedd e'n fabi bach cyffredin. He was just a normal baby boy from the outward appearance. But if you were to take off the wrapping, you would find something very, very valuable. Yn gyntaf te, dyn ni'n clywed fod Iesu wedi gwisgo cnawd, fod e'n dduw sydd wedi gwisgo cnawd. At Christmas, we all love pigs in blankets, don't we? It's a great addition to the Christmas dinner. If you don't have them, I'm very sorry. I feel sorry for you. They are these sausages wrapped in a wonderful, wonderful bacon blanket. Oh, beautiful. But so much better is what Jesus clothed himself in at Christmas. Jesus, who is God, decided to wear flesh, to put on flesh, just like this ring was wrapped in that wrapping paper. It was covered. In the same way, God's nature as Jesus' nature as God was covered in his flesh. And so from the outside, you couldn't tell any different. In fact, in Isaiah 53, we hear, don't we, that there was nothing different about him outwardly, and so he was just like everyone else. Oedd e just fel chi a fi, dim byd yn wahanol amdano fe. Ac eto, mi oedd e'n gwbl wahanol. He was completely different. He was perfect. He is perfect. He is divine. He is eternal. He is able to live a perfect life where we can't. Where we fall short, he doesn't fall short. And so Jesus, although outwardly he looked just like us, was so much more precious, so much more beautiful than us. We are tainted by sin. It mars our image. I ni yn bobl fel y sprouts yna yn anffodus. I ni'n drewi o bechod. We stink of the stench of sin. But Jesus doesn't. He is beautiful. He is perfect. He gleans with the glory of God. And so he is so different. And at Christmas time, it's our privilege and our joy and our pleasure to be able to worship him for it. That he, despite being perfect and holy and blameless and gleaming, full of glory, decided to put on flesh and live among sinful people. Do we see that he is different? Do we see that he is glorious? Do we see his value as the perfect, sinless God that he is? The Lamb that he is. That he was willing to bow down, to come to earth in such a humble way. The incarnation is the word we use, isn't it? Incarne, I think it's Latin. Am I right, Geraint? He's the linguist. Incarne, which means in flesh, putting on flesh. God incarnate, gnawdoliad, gwisgo cnawd. It's an amazing miracle that we should be amazed at, that God was willing to put on flesh to become a part of his own creation. He made us. We are of the dust, and yet he became one of us so that he could live a life that we couldn't live, so that he could take our place. Now that's the first gift, the valuable gift, versus the small, insignificant gift. But what about the big gift? Now there was a big gift as well, wasn't there? The big bag of rubbish. Outwardly, it seemed impressive. It seemed as if there was going to be something of real worth in that bag. Do you know, at Christmas time, we read about another person who was about, another king who was about, who thought he was a bigger king, a more impressive king than King Jesus. His name was Herod, if you remember. Chi'n cofio'r brenin Herod? Bwriad Herod, unwaith nath e glywed fod Iesu wedi cael ei eni, oedd beth? Oedd e'n dweud wrth y doethion, dewch yn ôl a gweud wrthai. Lle mae wedi cael ei eni, achos fi eisiau mynd a'i addoli fe hefyd. He said to the wise men, come back and tell me. Come back and let me know where he is so that I too can go and worship him. But his plan was always to kill Jesus, to get rid of Jesus. He wanted to be the king above Jesus. And so outwardly, he seemed impressive. It seemed as if he had all the power. to get rid of Jesus. But did he succeed? Well, no. He failed miserably at his plan. He failed completely and utterly to get rid of Jesus. And who remains now as the living King in heaven? It is Jesus. He is the one who truly is worthy of all glory and power and majesty. Fe sydd yn deilwng o bob clod mawl, parch a bri. Now, we can be like Herod sometimes. And perhaps you are like Herod by nature. Maybe you think, I want to be my own king. I want to be my own boss. I think I'm impressive enough. I think I'm better. I know better than God. But the reality is that your heart is full of rubbish, just like Herod. However, what's even more amazing is that God can change our hearts, that God can deal with the rubbish of our sin, the stench of our sin, and give us himself, that he comes to dwell in us. You see, the most amazing thing I think about Christmas is that he came to live among us so that ultimately, it doesn't stop there, does it? Ultimately, he would live in us. He would dwell in us. That's the most amazing thing. God in us. God with us is amazing, but God in us is even more amazing. By his Spirit, he comes and dwells in us. He gives us power, abilities. He gives us his presence, which we never deserved, we could never deserve. He gives us his own righteousness, everything we need to live for God and to enjoy God and to glorify God. And the reason why he is the most precious of gifts is because nobody else can offer you what he offers you. Lots of people are going to give you gifts this Christmas, hopefully. Hopefully. But nobody can give you the gift of salvation other than Jesus. Nobody else can deal with your sin. Nobody else can live a perfect life in your place. Nobody else can satisfy God's wrath. Nobody else can open the door to heaven for you. Nobody else is coming back for you other than Jesus. There is no other hope for salvation other than Jesus. It tells us that in Acts chapter 4, doesn't it? There is no other name by which we can be saved. Does dim enw arall sy'n gallu'n achub ni, dim ond Iesu. Ac felly, nid yn unig mae'n anreg gwerthfawr, mae'n anreg gwbl unigryw. He is the unique gift. As we accept him, we experience something nobody else can give us and nothing else can give us. He is our treasure, our ultimate satisfaction. And so as we look at Christ, we should be so full of joy, so full of thankfulness, so glad of his humility, his love for us, his grace towards us, by coming and living among us so that ultimately he can live in us. Now, as he does that, something changes us. It says this in 1 Corinthians 15, verses, I think it's 47 to 49. The first man was of the dust of the earth. That's Adam. The second man, Jesus, is of heaven. As was the earthly man, so are those who are of the earth. And as is the heavenly man, so are those who are of heaven. And just as we have borne the image of the earthly man, so shall we bear the image of the heavenly man. Wow. Because of Christ, we can have the image of Jesus. We are heavenly beings. We are beings that have been completely changed from being earthly beings to being of heaven. That is incredible. That is a miracle and a gift for us. We're going to sing in a second, Hark the Herald, Angels Sing. And it's Charles Wesley, I think, who wrote it. And there's a fourth verse that's often missed out. I don't know if you know it. We miss it out sometimes because there are multiple versions on the computer. But it says, Come, Desire of Nations, come. Do you know that one? fix in us thy humble home. Rise the woman's conquering seed, bruise in us the serpent's head. Maybe we can have it up on the screen here, there, if possible. Possibly. Can we go on to the next? That's it. Come, desire of nations, come. Fix in us thy humble home. Rise the woman's conquering seed. Bruise in us the serpent's head. And then Adam's likeness now efface. Stamp thine image in its place. Final Adam from above. Reinstate us in your love. What does that verse tell us? It's a prayer. It starts off with, come, Jesus, and fix in me your humble home. Come and dwell in me. Come and dwell in my heart. Then it says, come and defeat Satan in me. Bruise the serpent's head, just like God promised in Genesis 3, if you remember. Get rid of Satan in me. Defeat Satan in me. Which is what Jesus does as he comes and dwells in us. And then it says, Adam's likeness now efface. So erase, if you like. Get rid of. Get rid now of Adam's likeness in me. Change me so that I don't look like the old person that I was, the sinful person that I was. Rather, stamp your image in its place. We can be like Jesus. He can bear his image in us. He refines us. He makes us like him. And then, final Adam from above, Jesus Christ, reinstate us, make us right again, and have us rest in your love. What a wonderful prayer, which is a prayer that we can all pray. And I pray that you have prayed. If you haven't, I would suggest as you read it, that you would pray it and mean it. That you would ask the Lord Jesus to come and dwell in you. Because Jesus came to do more than just dwell among us. He came to dwell in us. And ultimately, we will see him face to face again. His first coming should always point us to his second coming, because his work isn't done until that point. Jesus has finished the work of dealing with our sin, but the effects of sin are still around us. We only need to look at the news once to know that. But Jesus will return to claim his people. He will change the earth. We will live in a paradise one day, a place without sin, a place without death, without mourning, without grief, where we will be perfect, sinless. Are you looking forward to that day, or are you dreading that day? Let me tell you, that's how you know where you stand before God. If you're dreading that day, you're dreading it because you're not sure where you stand. But if you're looking forward to that day, it's because you know he's coming for me. And my prayer this Christmas is that you would accept the gift of all gifts, Jesus Christ, so that you know he's coming for me. Amen.